everyone, and welcome to tonight's Science Boat Show. Coming to you from the friendly seas of uncertainty and curiosity, where mermaids swim and I don't know what sailors do. I don't know. Pirates say, or ahoy,
They
matey.
never turn their
Whatever.
back on the sea, says me.
I says, red sky at night.
They raise the mitten mast.
Ooh. That's right. Haul the yardarm? I don't know.
Yeah.
Pull on the
tie knots.
Cunningham. Yeah, let's do it. Hey, everyone. This is this week's Science Podcast broadcast of This Week in Science, our weekly
Oklahoma.
science podcast. Too soon. Very, very good.
I knew I wasn't going to make it long, but otherwise I would forget.
All right. This stuff that's happening right now, it's getting edited out for all of those podcast listeners. So, if you like this fun stuff, make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook channels so you can see the live, the uncut, and all the fun stuff. If you like it clean and edited and, just straightforward, it's never straightforward. There's always uncertainty. I'm just going to keep going back to the fact that we need to really talk about that a lot. For science, there's no just straightforward. It's a winding path. But anyway, Rachel's going to edit stuff like all of this and make sure that we have a lovely podcast for you, which you can find pretty much everywhere there are podcasts. I would love everyone in the chat room to let us know how the three of us sound, because to each other's ears, each of us is a different volume.
Oh, yeah. That's a great
Let us know. Are we good? Or are we a little off?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
The question then is, if we are off, can we fix it?
Only for the podcast, because we record separate audio tracks, and Rachel can fix it for the podcast.
Really? I never even knew that.
I'm not recording an audio track. How does that work?
It's getting recorded.
So you mean, so somewhere out there I could be listening to a version that's just me talking?
Yeah. I mean, if you wanted it, I could download it.
No,
after.
I don't.
Do you really want that?
No, I don't. I don't want to hear me talking. Justin is the lowest, but not by much. So if I move in here and talk like this directly into the mic, but keep it in a hushed tone, it might be a little better.
Yep.
Or just lean back and
not
get
gonna
really angry. That's the other thing that you can do.
I think he was being pulled into the ocean by a mermaid.
The mermaid gives you a boat window. She's not flirting with you. It's a warning.
Stay away from the portholes. Mm-hmm. Okay, everyone.
Was it a mermaid or a manatee?
Mermando of the sea.
Mermando of the sea. You
never hear about the
manatee.
mermen. They never talk about the mermen so much.
Yeah.
I don't know
Might
what
be.
they do.
They're a myth. Anyway, this is a science podcast, so we are going to be beginning our show in just a moment. And hit the likes. People in the chat, welcome. Thank you for being here and watching and listening. And if you would share with your friends, hit the like, share, put it all out there, get it in the algorithm. And I think it was wonderful. One of our longtime audience members last week said, hey, right now, hit the likes and subscribes if you like it. So keep doing that throughout the show. It'll really help out. Okay. You ready?
Let's do it.
I love the little smiles you guys have. You have inside information. Ready? We're going to start this show in 3, 2. This is TWIS. This Week in Science, episode number 1025, recorded on Wednesday, August 6th, 2025, prompting you to think scientifically. Hey, everyone. I'm Dr. Kiki, and tonight on the show, we will fill your head with diabetes, pregnant roaches, and snail eyes. But first, you're welcome.
Disclaimer. We are on our own. 22 projects to develop vaccines using mRNA technology. have been halted by the Department of Health and Human Services in order to start investing in better solutions. While it might seem like an insane move in light of the recent success of mRNA vaccines, not just in COVID, but also some successful trials that we'll be talking about and creating an HIV vaccine, behind the scenes, it's actually probably much worse. Our Francis Kennedy Jr.'s decision to cut $500 million in vaccine research follows other actions such as firing the panel that makes vaccine recommendations and refusing to endorse the vaccinations even as measles outbreaks were killing children. He said a universal vaccine that mimics natural immunity is the administration's focus. And I will do my best quotey voice here. It could be effective. We believe it's going to be effective against not only coronaviruses, but also flu, he said. And then went into an in-depth explanation of the biomolecular pathways and mechanisms discovered through years of iterative research that have led to, just kidding, it's going to be woo-woo concept-driven snake oil. And that's just it. The largest, most advanced human health agency on the planet has stopped using science. No appeals, no recourse, no second opinions. We are on our own. But we're not alone, and we need to start acting like it here on This Week in Science, coming up next. Cue the happy music.
I've got the kind of mind that can't get enough. I wanna learn everything. I wanna fill it all up with new discoveries that happen every day of the week. There's only one place to go to find the knowledge I seek. I wanna know what's happening, what's happening, what's happening this week in science. What's happening, what's happening, what's happening this week in science.
Good science to you, Kiki and Blair.
And a good science to you, Justin, Blair, and everyone out there. Welcome to another episode of This Week in Science. Thank you so much for joining us for another fun-filled, action-packed, tight 90 minutes of science. We're so
Did you
glad.
just spell science in ASL?
No, I was trying to spell TWIS, and then I think I was doing like the sign for weird and waffle.
Weird Waffle. Yeah, that's our other name, of course. This Week in Science, the Weird Waffle Hour, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
Working on it, you know.
Yeah.
It's how we remain fungible. Everyone. This is going to be a great show. Because we need our
Excellent.
time together. We need our time together so much. I watched a reel this week that really put it into perspective for me. A drag queen who was given TED Talks on the subject of joy and finding joy in life during hard and turbulent times, chaotic times, periods when you feel attacked and you don't know how to go on. And the advice was based on the AIDS epidemic of the 80s, and during a time when the gay community was being attacked and othered and not helped. They helped themselves. Everything was politically and infrastructurally being turned to make them overwhelmed, to make it so that they felt like they had no choices and they couldn't do anything. And what did they do? They found music, they found dance, and they partied. They had fun. They created moments of joy in the face of oppression. So let's have some fun,
Well, to
everybody.
be fair, I think they were doing that before and after as well.
Ah, they were. I
Also
mean,
in the face of oppression, which is the impressive part. Yes.
I know. I mean, you know why the Bee Gees were disco died because of anyway. There's some great news out there about that. Go down that rabbit hole. Anyway, this is science. We're not talking about music and political biases, but maybe we are a little bit because I got some stories for you. What do you want this week? We're going to bring science. I have maybe some positive science funding news. I don't know.
I'm
There's,
going to take it away.
I know you will. I know. Okay.
I'm going to take it right away.
That's why we are. That's why we have so much fun together.
I'm so sorry.
I also want to talk about a new discovery development in sea star wasting disease. We're going to talk about some roach bots and maybe some of that politics that's out there and how you might be manipulated by technology. That's what I've got. Justin, what'd you bring to the show
Oh,
tonight?
I got the in the disclaimer teased mRNA HIV vaccine early success. Couple of papers out showing routes to mRNA based HIV vaccines. I have got oh shoot, I don't have it up here. Where'd it go? Well, I got a couple more stories. One is kind of interesting about the GLP-1 RAs. Now, I feel like I probably don't have to explain what that is at this point because their advertising has gone through the roof. Also, do snail eyes grow back? And if so, what can we do with that?
Grow snail eyes on our foreheads? I don't know. Blair, what did you bring to the animal corner?
Oh, I'm sorry, was that do I want some snail eyes? Because the answer is yes. I brought radioactive rhino horns. I brought the pregnant cockroaches that were mentioned earlier. And then I also brought some dancing cockatoos because that's for fun. You know?
Gotta keep on dancing, just like the cockatoos. I can't wait to find out how many dance moves they have. That's
Tonight at 11.
Tonight at 11. Take dance lessons from birds. All right, everyone. As you know, This Week in Science is supported by listeners just like you. So if you are not supporting us yet, head over to TWIS.org and join our Patreon community. Choose your level of support and let me try to pronounce your name correctly at the end of the show. Or maybe you'll get stickers or there's all sorts of things. But we're here because of your support. So thank you very much. Another way you can help out is by sharing the podcast right now with a friend of yours. And additionally, we broadcast pretty much every Wednesday night, fairly live at 8 p.m.-ish Pacific time on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And our podcast is found on pretty much every podcast platform out there. You can head to our website, again, twis.org, to find out more information about our episodes and, our past lives. You ready for the science?
Yeah, let's bring it. I was going to throw out, I recently did apply for a grant for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting because they had this big grant that they got available for science news. So I applied for that. So hopefully I'll wait to hear back to see if we get that. But that would be pretty exciting.
Maybe don't hold your breath on that one.
What's that?
Holding your breath is, maybe we can do instead of YMCA dances, we can do PBS dances. I don't know. Somebody make it up.
What's your top story for tonight, Kiki? I heard you got a good news one. Are you taking over my old segment? Just good news.
Just good news. So the news this last week, and if you've heard or not, it's we are seeing some bipartisan support for science funding. Last week, it was reported that senators from both parties endorsed a $400 million increase to the NIH in an appropriations committee vote. And so when you have Republicans rebuking Trump's plan, it's kind of interesting. And so there's going to be some infighting. NIH's budget had been slashed by $18 billion. So I don't know. This could be very interesting. They also retained all 27 NIH institutes. So they basically said no to the new, the operations and the new centers and the consolidation. They didn't want the way that the Trump administration was proposing funding to colleges and universities to be meted out for overhead costs. But basically, it was the Appropriations Committee, 26-3 count, and Republican senators included Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham, which is very interesting because states are being impacted.
Yeah, but it's also...
I thought Mitch McConnell left.
Right.
No, he just froze. He's still there. He's just no longer in motion.
Oh, no.
I mean, he's all. I'm not going to say anything.
Okay, well, anyway, that's good. I wonder, can I say the really jaded thing, though?
No, don't. What?
Okay, never mind, I won't.
Can I point? Okay, so there's
Claire,
18
go for it.
billion in
I was
cuts.
just going to say, I wonder what they have to gain financially by voting for this.
Okay, so can I tell you?
Mm-hmm.
This is where Justin makes everything less shiny.
So how much money?
For what they voted for, 400 million.
400 million. That's almost the exact same amount of money that our Francis Kennedy Jr. Wants to spend on his new program. Almost like to the $1 million.
Interesting. Thank you for that. These are the things to pay attention to.
Yeah. I mean, I would almost be in favor of completely defunding the government at this point. Because now I'm like, yeah, actually, that's a great idea. Let's get rid of all of the dollars that they can spend right now. Quick.
Yeah, so I know you have a story coming up about mRNA vaccines, are you going to talk about the fact that they're not going to be funded anymore, and probably we're going to talk about the fact that mRNA vaccine research is not going to be allowed pretty much in the United States anymore, or at least funded by the U.S. government.
I think that's what you're saying right there is the key point. In the United States.
Yep.
So the
not funded by the
out
U.S.
of the
government.
bag.
Yeah.
And you'll get a lot of scratches trying to put that kind of knowledge back into a bag, or something, analogy, metaphor. But the point is, America is not going to be part of it. And we're a huge funder of this type of research, so obviously we accelerate things and make things happen quicker. Mm-hmm. But the science will continue without us because there's still scientifically minded countries. And guess what? They can hire anywhere in the globe. So if we've got leading scientists in the field of mRNA research, we'll just lose them.
Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of countries who are not really rolling out the red carpet for to save American scientists, and there's a very interesting impact happening right now. But my final point on good news ish that might be optimistic is that we have the Government Accountability Office. I don't know what teeth they have anymore, but there was a report that came out yesterday finding that Trump administration violated the 1974 law that makes sure that presidents can't supersede congressional appropriated funding.
Oh, they violated a law, did they?
Yep.
There was a law that was violated by this administration. I'm sure there's going to be consequences.
I seem to recall he's already violated at least 34 that we know of.
That
doesn't
a
seem to
one.
matter.
That's not even talking about the administrative one.
Yeah.
I mean, rationally, logically, if the power of the accountability office holds and the report is listened to at all, it could give some backing to any congressperson that wants to push back against anything that the administration has tried to do in the upcoming negotiations related to where congressional money goes, and also making sure that stuff that should have gone out goes out and continues to. It's a fun ride.
Doubt it. I doubt
it. It's shiny.
And I mean, we have enough history on the party that's supporting these things that I have zero faith that they will do a right thing.
Listen, ultimately, our nation is going through a stress test, and it is failing, right? And so that's if I can try to put a silver lining on this, if I can try really, 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 really hard, right?
You can't.
There's these laws, and there's these rules, and there's these guidelines, and there's these expectations, and there's no teeth. That's what we're learning. There's no teeth behind these things. And so if we are to start over which is honestly my hope at this point. I've seen a lot of people talking about, like, it's not good enough to go back to where we were before. We have to start fresh with a lot of these things because obviously we have failed the stress test. So it is time to reestablish these laws and regulations for how administrations can run and provide teeth behind them so there's actual real accountability, right? Like, it can't all depend on one congressperson being loud enough and not being arrested on the congressional floor. Like, it has to be more substantial and stronger than that. And so yeah, I mean, my only hope is that in 50 years we look back on this and go, like, you know, that was a really hard time. Lots of terrible things happened. People died. Like, a lot of bad things happened. But now we are in a safer space for all people who live here. That is the only hope that I have, is that in some decades, a stronger system has been built with better accountability.
So can I point out just one sideline issue?
Yeah.
That's my biggest concern is not even what the politicians are doing right now, which is concerning enough. But it's what's happening with large corporate media is very frightening.
Oh,
so
I have a thing that you're going to seg me right into that because I have a story that is a secret.
Good. So one of the things that people are talking about is like this whole thing with one of the big media companies, so we don't get sued, paying out a substantial amount of money over something that all lawyers or people who know law agree that they should have been able to fight. And then another company kind of did the same thing. Another big. Now, a lot of this looks like maybe this is paying for a merger thing as a bribe thing, or maybe it was, just not wanting to be in trouble. But there's another problem with this. Now that pretty much all news networks are large corporate owned, what they've also done is helped themselves by paying those big rewards, because they've set a precedent now that you can sue people for the truth.
Yeah.
And they have to pay you. So that if one of these corporations' businesses doesn't like the reporting of another corporation's news network, they can collect money from them, even if it's true. It's the most insane, insidious thing, but they've lost nothing. They're setting a precedent so that you can't counter a corporate voice.
Yep.
Oh, when the next round of horrible things is happening, because nobody will be reporting on it.
Oh, right. But you won't have, everything will be corporate. And so to seg to my secret story, I discovered a dissertation that was just published, so it's not really public. This dissertation is titled, "Who Are We to Argue? How Conservative Media Mobilize Identity in Science-Hostile Discourse." This now PhD has written their dissertation on the question of what happened in media to get to the point now where science is a political issue and is something that can be dismissed, that the facts, that truth, that evidence, that knowledge can be diminished by opinion or by political bias. And so the research looked at political discourse analysis on 400 articles from conservative media. 200 regarded Greta Thunberg, and 200, can you guess who the other person was on the other side of things? Anthony Fauci. Two people who are being demonized in conservative media for various reasons. The analyses of these least similar cases, climate change, COVID, or public health, revealed that the media portrayed Fauci and Thunberg as agents of the political left, using science as a tool to dominate the right in a populist binary struggle over which group should embody American identity. In each instance, the similarity, conservative media leveraged aspects of conservative identity to morally justify rejecting the messaging of Thunberg and Fauci, while most conservative content avoided direct engagement with the science that was advocated by them. A subset that did represented conservative identity as respectful of scientific expertise. And in the dissertation, they describe a discursive method of justifying the rejection of the work of experts while avowing respect for science as an epistemology of moral discernment. So conservatives present the moral character of a science communicator as a criterion for assessing claims of truth. They consider that.
So can you use that sentence again? You said that they used to describe Greta and Anthony Fauci. What was it again? Say it again.
Conservatives present the moral character of a science communicator as a criterion for assessing.
Oh no, earlier when you said they were unreliable because
oh right, yes. So they to reject. Oh, here it is. Science is being used as a tool to dominate the right, the binary straight. Which group should embody American identity? They leverage aspects of conservative identity to morally reject Thunberg's and Fauci's messaging.
Right.
So
is that whole idea that they're like they have this liberal identity and this liberal agenda,
and
that they're skewing data to right, which there's this saying that every accusation is an admission. And that's one of those things where, oh, you think they're fabricating data to push the left. Are you saying that because that's what's actually happening on the far right?
I don't know. I wonder. The researcher concludes that selective science hostility discourse, there's a term now, selective science hostility discourse, basically choosing little wedge issues to be to be aggressive against. It's best understood as a strategy for morally legitimizing politically motivated rejection of the truth claims and policy recommendations of science communicators. So for people who consume the news and consume the media, be aware of the arguments and the messaging that's out there and how they might be representing particular individuals and how that also connects to your identity, and ask yourself why you believe it and why you think it, why you trust this source versus that source, and why you might actually think that a girl that goes out and spends her whole life advocating to save humanity by fixing the climate just a little bit. Let's just change things a little bit. Why?
Well, this is also the group of people that like to take, people who are under heat for being sexual predators and try to put all these kind of characteristics on them to be like, oh, but he's a member of the water polo team and he's on the honor roll and all these things to try to say like, oh, but we don't want to ruin his otherwise bright future, right? So they do it the other way too, where they try to lessen bad things, trying to use kind of like moral character tropes.
If they're that good, how could they be that?
Right.
How could what they did be that bad? Come on,
no, this is denial of truth on both sides.
Psychology
suggesting that some powerful people had illicit affairs, maybe with underage women, doesn't sound that bad, really. But there is no such thing, again, to be clear, as an underage woman. An underage woman is somebody who maybe can't be at a bar or run for Congress or collect Social Security, because at 50 she's an underage woman for Social Security. But I'm
an underage woman for Social Security.
Are at least 18 years of age and can consent to anything they want. Anybody under that age is not a woman, that's a child.
Yeah.
And so by saying underage women instead of children, they're softening quite a bit what has been taking place.
And so if you're questioning why we're talking about this and bringing politics in at this point in the show and why it happens at the start of the show, it's because you were here at the beginning and you're here hopefully continuing to listen, and your interest and curiosity in human psychology and the human brain and social structures and hierarchies and human identity and misinformation.
Hey Blair, just between you and me.
Amazing.
I can't believe Kiki's working that hard to hang on to our two MAGA listeners.
No, I think that,
No,
if I
that's
got my
not what I-
time machine and I went back to 2012, right? Like there would be a part of this that it'd be like, oh, why is politics getting in this science show? But we are.
Blair, when we were radio only and we started talking about politics and we were still recording on cassette tapes and we had like a PB Works forum or PB, whatever. I would get emails so angry that I talked about climate change, which is a political issue apparently. And people were mad that I was connecting, education and science and, evolution, right? They were mad at me for connecting politics and science. It's the don't put my chocolate and peanut butter, together.
Yes.
And I have been for the last, we for the last 2 decades have been saying they belong together. They are. That science is.
If scientific funding was decided by a panel of scientists, we could maybe separate these things. But that's not how it works, is it?
Not anymore. Not anymore. They got rid of the panels, and now it's going to just be straight woo-woo.
Justin,
really
your
quiet.
microphone has pushed you into the nether regions.
We need magic. No, it's like really quiet all of a sudden.
Yeah,
is it really?
you have to mess with your cord, I think.
It's gonna go
Do some woo-woo.
Did that work?
No.
I don't know what to do about it. I don't have controls over it at all.
I don't know what to tell you. We can't really hear you. It's like your little mouse in the corner.
I'm going to tell you something.
I'm wondering if it's an internet-y connection or something, because that's the
That
only
doesn't
other
make sense.
possibility.
I don't know.
Just the audio and your video looks great this week.
Weird.
If you want to get away from the cord issue, you can go to the headphones. You've got Bluetooth, right? It won't be like best audio, but I think it would be more consistent. Rachel, I think there's some stuff that needs to be edited out.
Alrighty then. I guess I don't need this thing anymore.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my, you're loud now.
Oh, good. Yeah, you can't help but hear me.
Turning down the volume.
Tinny microphone.
So now that you can all hear me, what was I saying?
Oh my goodness, you're talking to us on FM radio. You're the 10th caller.
Welcome to Science at Night with Dr. J.
Oh my goodness. Okay, it's our throwback episode, I guess.
But
Justin,
anyway,
you're gonna 2-day a new microphone or what? All right, back to it.
I'm gonna get. What did you say? It was a good one. The Yeti. That was pretty good.
I'll send you a link in
right.
in text.
Okay.
At the break.
Finishing up the discussion and moving to Justin's story.
Yes.
Did I have a story? Oh, this is the intro to my story. I totally.
But just to
I
finish
totally
up this
forgot that this was all just a ruse to get us into basically 2 studies. HIV vaccine efforts have been underway. So there's been a problem in creating the HIV vaccines, which is they're tricky. They basically have designed these antibodies that are targeting the right area, which is this envelope glycoprotein, ENV trimmers. These are structures that are found on the viral surface that are essential for attaching to host cells and getting on the inside. So if you can stop them from doing that, then you won't have HIV infecting cells. But all of the antibodies that they've created so far that are supposed to neutralize this effect have been sort of attacking the wrong parts of this envelope glycoprotein. And it's attacking, but it's not preventing functionality. So they've been trying to figure out how to do it, and it's just molecularly tricky obstacles are in the way of getting things where they need to be on this these sort of spikes, if you will. Okay. So 2 new studies have been published in Science Translational Medicine, both of them testing results from mRNA and mRNA-based vaccine. So basically what they've done, the first round was animal testing. They had rabbits and primates, non-human primates, rhesus macaques. And they tried six different versions of formulation of this mRNA vaccine that's meant to sort of both target the right place, but in part of the strategy, but part of the strategy is also to prevent the off targeting. So to prevent it from targeting the parts of this envelope that don't functionally disable it. So very, very narrowed down specific targeting with with this new round. And it looks like so far they're seeing pretty good success. They are finding this was a year after immunization in the animal studies. They found persistent envelope-specific plasma cells that were still being generated. So first of all, the vaccine's taking; it's creating the immunity, and results showed that mRNA-encoded membranes anchored to these HIV envelope trimmers triggered the neutralizing antibody responses, meaning they were hitting the right targets in most of the recipients.
That's
In the
amazing.
human trials, they had 108 HIV negative adults and then so they were basically looking to see if they would create the vaccine version, which is that sort of mimicking version that can do the attacking. And they it looks like it was successful there as well. So they're finding binding antibodies response to non-base epitopes were higher in this group with greater frequency of memory B cells binding to the neutralizing parts, attacking the right targets of these envelope trimmers that are responsible for that attach and enter function. So that also looked very successful. There were some side effects, but in comparison to what they're trying to prevent, kind of didn't look too bad. So authors conclude that mRNA vaccines encoding membrane-anchored HIV trimmers, so that they actually attach to cells, effectively induced antibodies that were able to take down a tier 2, which is a very resistant form of HIV, and had durable memory B cells, so it remembered what to do, and had good CD4 T cell activity, which meant it could go and attack HIV if it were to show up. But this is also not universal yet. So this is also a specific strain of HIV. The goal is to make it go for a universal one, so that all of the strains can be countered in this way. But this one was so far a very strain specific targeting. But with this success, both in the animal and the human trial, showing that they can get sustainable antibodies that are able to target the right parts of HIV, they can try to focus more on universal targets within the strains. And also with this technique that they've got that is preventing it from hitting the off-target ones.
So in this example of this mRNA vaccine, one of the issues with HIV is that the virus hides, and so you can get rid of a whole bunch of it with, through various methods, but there might be little bits because it's this it hides in the genome, or it hides in little pockets, right? And so it's not just when it starts producing little like proteins and stuff to create new HIV viral particles, it gets in and finds them.
So this is before it gets into the cell. This prevents
It prevents infection.
the
So this
virus
could be
from
something.
attaching to or entering cells.
So this could be something like the flu virus, a flu vaccine or COVID vaccine, or
Exactly. So and that's what's kind of frightening about what's taken place is they're finding mRNA uses for all sorts of things. There's gastrointestinal issues that they've had some successful trials on, where you can take a pill, you don't need a shot, but it where it's repairing damage in the gut and the intestines. Like there's all sorts of things that mRNA concept is showing success, early success in trials. And that research that they're talking about canceling isn't just like canceling the next wave of COVID vaccine. That's like the least of it. It's canceling research into a diverse array of human health issues that could be countered by mRNA vaccines because woo-woo
Cancer.
decided. Yeah.
One of the big, like, mRNA research is one of the leading, like, positive potential treatments for, or ways to avoid devastating cancers.
And so
Where
a lot of
does
that
it go?
research is still taking place at universities, but again, that's a lot of that is from the funding from government that is no longer interested in funding such things because woo-woo instead. Because reasons. It's not even like they have like a thing from what I can read, and I had to do the best reading I could do on it was on NPR, which just lost its funding because I'm reading that the Corporation for Public Broadcasting is now no longer exists. Oh, wait a second. That's where our money was supposed to come from.
Yes,
But it's not even like announcing that they have an alternative. It's that they're going to put all of the money into a thing that they think will work that they haven't researched yet. So why do they think it will work? Because woo-woo. And that's it. That's the answer is woo-woo.
no, it's
That's what's behind the scenes
it's called
is nonsense.
large transfers of data and companies and higher salaries and the moving. I'm just not going to say anything anymore. Anyway, I wonder where all that data from publicly funded research is going to end up.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can't keep quiet about this stuff. Thank you for the story, Justin. Maybe.
Did I bring this story? Oh, I guess I did. Oh,
You
and then I
did.
must have another one.
No, but the next one is Blair's because she's radioactive and
Oh.
she's bearing the rhino horn.
Yes. So I swear we talked about this in 2021, but I couldn't find. I tried to find it on our website. But in 2021, Wits University talked about making rhino horn radioactive. Does it sound familiar at all? Yes.
Yeah, no,
So,
I actually remember
so-
the conversation, I think.
Was it so they could track it from like it would
Yes.
be specific isotope release or whatever from different horns?
Yes.
So, they
So
would
the
know,
idea
like,
is
backtrack the poachers.
Yes. So the idea is to embed radioactive material into rhino horn so that then if that rhino horn is later trafficked, it would be very easy to detect. So you'd know if it was illegally harvested, I guess, rhino horn, for lack of a better term. The idea is that also making it harder and harder to move rhino horn would make it less valuable, and that also making it radioactive would make it less valuable, make it less pure for traders, right? And
It would
so,
set up like if you couldn't bring that thing into an airport, it would probably set off
right.
their alarms.
Yes. And so they kind of set this proof of concept in 2021, and they tried it out on 2 rhinos. It looked like it was going to be a successful, potential launch for a larger study. And so they actually just published their larger study. So in this one, they said overall it's been about 6 years of research. They started in 2019, so that first article was released 2 years later. Now it's been another 4 years. And so there's a few things that they have figured out. So as of 6 months from this publishing date, they embedded low levels of radioactive material into the horns of 20 rhinos in the wild. And so they did experiments on the blood of those animals, because the big kind of public response, of course, was, how do you know this isn't going to hurt the rhinos?
You're
Right.
mutating the rhinos? What? Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Yes. Is this how the X-Men happened? I don't know. Anyway.
Mhm.
But it's all
Um,
reversed, right? Like the rhino's like, what happened to you? Oh, did you get superpowers? No, actually, I got all like soft and flesh. I got like humanized. It's really
right.
terrible. It's hard to be a
Yeah.
rhino now.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm bipedal. This sucks. This is not an efficient way of moving at all. Anyway. So they did experiments on the blood tests. They did veterinary inspections. They confirmed everybody was unharmed. It appears that the radioactive isotope did not enter the bloodstream at all. They said, we have demonstrated beyond scientific doubt that the process is safe for the animal and effective in making the horn detectable through international customs security systems. In fact, so no damage at all in the 20 rhinos in the pilot phase. They checked blood cultures. They examined micronuclei in white blood cells. Everything looked good. And then they used the same technology to embed fake horns, 3D printed horns, and put them through a bunch of tests to see if they were detectable in different transport scenarios. They put them in carry-on luggage. They put them in air cargo shipments. They put them in priority parcel delivery systems. And in each case, even a single horn with low levels of radioactivity, even lower than would be in the wild, triggered the alarms. And in one case, they actually were able to detect it inside a 40-foot shipping container that was full of other things. So
Amazing.
So they
Perfect.
were definitely able to find it.
Yeah.
Now, the only food for thought I provide here, this sounds great, but there's two kind of things to keep in mind. One, you have to catch the rhino and embed the radioactive material. Okay, so you have to do that for every individual that you're attempting to protect. But the second piece is, if you make it even harder to transport, are you actually making it more valuable?
Probably. Yeah, I
don't
thought
know.
about that as soon as you were saying, like, as soon as there was less supply, that would,
I know they
Yeah.
kept saying in the article it would devalue it. It would devalue it. I'm like, is
well,
it?
so
It would devalue it if it's the probability. So it's statistics, right? So the probability of the radioactivity being in any percentage of the rhino population. What's the chance, you're going through all this risk to get the rhino
Right.
horns. How many of them have radioactivity in them? Is this something that's well established in the population, or is it rare? And if you make it something that becomes a cost benefit analysis for the poachers, then it becomes
Right.
potential to minimize the poaching. But if it's more of a prohibition kind of thing where it's like, it's whatever, this is now there's some of them, but and anyway.
Yeah. So that's the question. Are you making it
number thing.
prohibitive to the poachers, or are you making it harder to get as the final person acquiring it? Right. And so
there's go
ahead.
So if it's more expensive, the idea would be less people would want to buy it. You'd have less buyers. If it quadruples in price or whatever the thing is, 100 times more expensive, whatever, there will be some people who will be out of the market for it. But those who are still in the market are going to be paying for just as much poaching as existed before, right? I think that's kind of the math.
Yeah, when
So
we're all eating
Kiki
crickets, a real steak is gonna be like amazing.
Yeah. But I do think that Kiki highlighted a chat, somebody in the chat, which is exactly what I was going to say. Flood the market. You know, we can 3D print cells. It's just keratin. It's beta keratin. It's very easy. Just 3D print rhino horn made out of keratin. Okay. Flood the market to the point where it is you cannot tell what is real rhino horn and what is fake rhino horn, so that there's no reason, there's no allure. Again, I have a rhino horn on my wall that I got for $50. Like, just make it completely worthless by flooding the market with fake horn. That is what I think would solve this problem.
It's like if we could get past like the
raise
diamonds,
demand, though.
real diamonds versus diamonds man-made diamonds.
Mhm.
Same, they're the same, but the man-made
So
diamonds are a little bit more perfect, I think. Yeah, don't have as many imperfections, but
Yeah.
we've had like money and they've been minimized because they're man-made, they're synthetic, and so the marketing is really having to go towards uh, showing the bad sides of blood diamonds and like how diamonds are taken from the earth and everything. So it's a similar thing, right? How do you flood the market or get the synthetic corn out there without people knowing? Because that's
Mhm.
so
really what
my word of caution is the story of coal. So when steam engines, coal used to be very expensive. Like what was the movie, the Ebenezer Scrooge fella? He gave his employee a lump of coal so he could burn, so he could stay warm, but only one lump every other day, or whatever the thing was, right? It was extremely expensive because every bit of coal was going to fuel trains. Then the trains went through some engineering and became a magnitude more efficient, and it dropped the price of coal. And suddenly the demand for coal skyrocketed because now people could heat their homes with it. They could run a furnace off of it. They could do everything with it because it was so affordable. And demand
but
went
that
skyrocketing.
made the market bigger, right? It wasn't just a
And it
small
made the
market,
market bigger because it
which
became
that's a
cheap.
different math. Yeah.
Well, I think it's my concern would be like if you flood the market and get everybody in on the idea of rhino horn, then you're gonna increase your customer base, and I don't know that solves the issue either.
Mhm.
Yeah, agree.
Mhm.
Absolutely agree. I mean, sometimes the only way that you can get rid of, the coal problem, is like stopping subsidies for things like, solar and,
About time.
renewable energy. Yeah, let's get rid of that green stuff.
Did we just start the show over again?
Yeah, we're taking a new tact now, Blair.
Okay, I've got good news. I've got good news.
Did you miss the meeting notes?
Yeah.
We're getting on board
Of the
with all of it.
Oh boy. I
I
gotta
too was
go.
fooled by the global warming hoax. I gotta
Mermando.
say,
I'm
I
riding your
can't
boat,
believe.
Mermando. Okay, good news. Good news. Blair, we've talked about the sea star wasting disease, and
Mhm.
we've been talking about this issue for a very long time. Lots and lots of sea stars turning white, gray, dying on the seafloor. It's depressing and sad, and we haven't we knew it was a particular a certain bacteria, and we were like, oh, okay, but we can't really. Yeah, which one is it? And oh my gosh.
Mhm. Mhm.
Anyway, researchers from the Hakai Institute have just published their work in Nature Ecology and Evolution, looking into the exact bacterial species that causes sea star wasting disease. And so they have identified, wrong stream. I'm going to do this tab instead. They have identified a particular bacteria known as Vibrio. That was the family that was identified previously, but they didn't know exactly which one. And they identified a subspecies or a species of the Vibrio that is known as Vibrio pectinacida. Pectinacida, but they basically had sea stars in the lab, and when they gave them varying amounts of this particular Vibrio species, it caused a immediate, like 90% of the sea stars died and pretty much immediately got ill, and they couldn't come back from it. The ones that survived had the lowest dosage of this particular bacteria. So they've been running these experiments from 2021 to 2024. They have been analyzing the genes that are involved, and they determined that it is specifically this Vibrio pectinacida in every single one of the wasting sea star samples. What does knowing this actually allow us to do? Well, it gives us a target. So if
We can make sea star medicine, right?
we antibiotics, we could maybe use phages. Like, are there any bacterial phages that the Vibrio are in line with that are creating ways to survive. What can we do to keep the sea stars alive?
I guess I'm curious what happened. Like, now that we know it's this bacteria, why? Why did this decimate sea star populations out of nowhere? Like, does it thrive in temperatures that are like way warmer than these sea stars are normally in, and then climate change, and that's why? Or like, was there a mutation? Was this bacteria not around before? Like, you know what I mean? Something happened. There was a trigger where way more sea stars were dying that would make ecological sense in a population, right?
And why that one particular, so this is a microbiome out of balance. And that out of balance microbiome, it allowed this one Vibrio species to take over, and it's killed. It's gone. It's got too big. So whatever bacteria was competing with this Vibrio species, or groups of different bacteria that were competing, they're not competing anymore. Vibrio took over, and it's causing all the problems. Nobody knows why.
And that's really the problem. Is like, if you figure out what is basically an antibiotic, right? To be able to like release targeted into the water column in targeted spaces, or even like inject into sea stars, or I don't even understand how you would really make this happen. Like, it's the ocean, like it's the epitome of a drop in the bucket. How do you inoculate sea stars in the ocean, right? But even if you figured that out, how are you sure it's not going to mutate and be worse?
Again, yeah, what is the balance, right? And so are we just in the middle of one of those fluctuations that is on its way to a new balance? Or are we in this place where what we're seeing is just the monoculturing of the microbiome, which impacts the entire ecosystem? Pexicola is asking, is this something that we should interfere with if natural? So like Blair was saying, it started popping up with higher temperatures in the sea and climate change stuff, but there's no real smoking gun as to where it came from. And so that is the question. And it is probably because of us.
Right. But what?
But what?
Which
Right.
thing?
And
is it PFAS? Like, what is this? Is it antidepressants? I don't know.
How do we help ocean ecosystems adapt to the changing temperatures and pH balances that are coming? It's coming, and it's everything is shifting as a result. I mean, and can we help adaptation? I mean, I think that is an important question. How do we help balance, without too much chaos in the middle of it? Anyway, I love all these videos of the sea stars. They're so pretty.
I know. They're so the crown of thorns sea stars, the whatever you call them, the ones with the million arms. They look wrong. They look like a kid got carried away drawing a sea star, right? Like, no, too many. Okay, bud, good job. Like, you know what I mean? It's just they look so wild, and they're usually so, like, vicious is even the wrong word, but they're so impactful on a habitat. Like, I'm used to talking about them as the problem in a habitat. Like, oh no, there's too many crown of thorns sea stars. It's destroying the habitat because they're so good at eating and eating.
But do they eat sea urchins? Like, do they compete against the other consumer of the ecosystems?
Oh my God. It's been so long since I worked at the aquarium.
Like, is that one of the balances? If the sea stars go, or the urchins going to take over, and then are we going to lose all our seaweed? And
they eat coral. That's right. They mostly eat coral.
All right.
So it's a coral's defense mechanism because of all the bleaching. We're like, we got to preserve what we can.
That's probably, there might be a connection there. Yeah.
Oh, they also eat sponges, and they also eat mollusks.
Darn. We need those.
So we get more mollusks. Well, that's not a problem. They don't hyper-deoxygenate anything if you get too many of them or anything like that.
Yeah, no. Okay, Blair's going down a rabbit hole because
I am sorry.
Her favorite subject. I'm done. with
We
the
got to
story.
redirect.
So it's time for Justin to tell us about a really exciting story about I don't know, a new treatment, a new cure. What's going on?
Well, not in the United States, but in Sweden, Uppsala University-led investigators report that a gene-edited donor islet cell survived 12 weeks inside of a man with type 1 diabetes, and they used 0 immunosuppressive medications.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's
So
huge.
this is a one patient study.
So it's like super like we should really like this is this is everything. One patient, but this is promising.
And so this what do you call it? Islets is like what is it? It's a sac of it's a cell sac that generates hormones from the pancreas, and these go around and they regulate blood sugar. They can create insulin, they can create glucose, they can basically do all the regulation. And so if you're one of those few people left that the drug industry has described as not being diabetic or not needing one of their products, this is what maintains healthy, normal blood sugar. It's a big part of it anyway, is up and down regulating the glucose levels. So they managed to do this implant, and there was a little bit of gene editing step in between, taking it from a donor and putting it in. However, it did not cure the man because they didn't put in enough, but they knew that. So they did. He's still doing daily insulin but it's slightly reduced. The insulin therapy the islet therapy was about a 7% of what would they think would be the full replacement of beta cells that they need to maintain the hormone levels.
So this was basically like proof of concept. Let's just see if those cells survive, if the body
Proof of
attacks
survival,
it,
proof of function. Yep.
and also not like starting a cancer, not like going wild and rogue inside the person's
Yes.
body. Yeah.
Yes. So iterative leap, I guess, right? It's still an iterative step, but it's like a big one. In the potential here for a mechanism-based strategy, no woo-woo involved, to actually cure a type 1 diabetes further down the road.
But it's on its way. I mean, it's amazing. Like that is the kind of thing that we need. And it's the kind of thing that can be for individuals. It's, editing a gene, changing the particular base pairs that make your islet cells not work correctly.
Yeah.
And then right next. Yeah. Wait, are you doing more stories still? You still got more stories right now?
Oh, I think so. Oh, you're going to go to the break. That's right.
It's like the tiniest break because I know how tired Blair is.
I'm not even yawning yet.
I know. I'm just like I'm there with you, preempting.
It's good. Yeah, it's good to prepare everybody. You're right.
I'm planning ahead. Come on.
We've only got 11 minutes in the show. Let's go.
I know. Someday this show will end. Just like we may have a treatment for type 1 diabetes that is not just good for mice. Everybody. This is This Week in Science. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope you're enjoying the show and thinking a lot about the stuff that we're talking about tonight. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? I'm not allowed to say slang that my son would eye roll over. So I'm going to just be me for a second, which is ridiculous. And ask you to please share the show so that we can talk about these ideas that are rooted in figuring out the world around us, but are never certain. Science is never certain. We're just figuring out this, the most likely, the most parsimonious solution or answer to our questions. And we like talking about these things. We like being curious. And if you know curious people, please bring them here.
Hmm.
And if you like the show, please help us keep doing the show. It would be really great to, to really be able to make the show happen in a sustainable way. So you are the people who allow us to do that. Thank you for supporting the show. Head over to twist.org. Click on our Patreon link. You can click on our Zazzle link for merchandise. Everything just supports the show and helps us keep talking with you. So you can talk to others and keep the ripples of curiosity and science going. Thank you for your support. We can't do it without you. Now it is time to come back after this little teeny tiny break and ask for support to that part of the show that we know and love as Blair's Animal Corner.
With Blair.
She loves our creatures, great and small. Biped, millipede, no pet at all. If you want to hear about animals, she's your girl. Except for giant pandas and squirrels. There's Animal Corner.
What you got, Blair?
I got pregnant roaches.
Oh dear.
That's
Did
what?
Yeah, did you know? Did you know there's such a thing as pregnant roaches?
There have to be because
I would assume.
where do they come from otherwise?
I mean, I assume they laid eggs, I guess. But
Right. As I would have as well. They do not.
What? Yeah.
So, talk about a rabbit hole. It turns out that roaches give live birth.
What?
And the mother cockroach feeds milk proteins
What?
to their babies over a 3-month gestation in a brood sac. So because
are they
of that,
mammals now? Wait.
because they're not mammals, they don't have a placenta, right? But because they have this prolonged gestation and they have something akin to milk that they create. It's not ovoviviparity, which is when you have like eggs that you develop and then they slowly disintegrate in the birth canal, and then basically the eggs hatch in the birth canal and then it looks like they're giving birth to live birth. That's what a lot of snakes do that do quote unquote live birth. This is true vivipary, which means live birth. Only a few insects do that, including cockroaches and tsetse flies. And so they're not they're beetle mimic cockroaches specifically.
Do they
So
have a
them,
womb?
tsetse flies, and a couple other. No, so they have a brood sac. So
The
it's
brood
like
sac. Okay.
it's its own kind of section of their body. So it's as if they're laying eggs into a whole different orifice in their body that then they can nourish these what are basically grubs in their body before they then give a live birth. So it's
Oh, they're like marsupials.
kind of, yes. And so they have this live birth situation that is very energetically costly. And so this recent study from the University of Cincinnati found that these cockroaches, like people, need more sleep when they're, and I'm just going to do the biggest air quotes in the world, pregnant. They're pregnant like a male seahorse is pregnant. I would say it's similar, right?
They're holding
it's
it in them. They're just
right.
holding it.
It's like a male seahorse, right? So, we call that pregnancy too when we talk about it, even though it's like not the same. Like there's no placenta. Like there's not, as a person who was once pregnant, I'm guessing it's not the same.
But I mean, they're feeding them with a milk-like substance that is that's energetically costly. Their body has to
and so
produce it.
that is less like lactation and more like a placenta.
Oh,
Because they are still internal, because they are still developing, because it is a nutrition source internal to the body of the mother. It is a lot more like a placenta than lactation. But anyway.
I'm having like like I don't know, one of those like weird 3D kind of thing where you visual puzzle things where you look at it one way
Yeah.
and you can see it, you look at it the other way, you can
It's
see
that
it,
meme
and
with the math floating at you and you look
I'm
confused.
like
Yeah, exactly.
Julia
Mhm.
Roberts, really confused by math. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So sleep. That's all it comes down to sleep. There are health consequences of not having sleep, but a lot of that builds up over time and is not evident quickly. So like if you spend many years, for example, doing shift work, we've talked about that on the show a lot, right? That like you don't feel it in the moment, but then eventually,
You
after
can't
many,
have
many years
cockroach
of
babies.
working nights, or you die sooner is usually what it comes down to, right? Like just basically your telomeres are messed from it.
Yeah.
But in this case, they looked at the sleep habits of the Pacific beetle mimic cockroach, which is found in Hawaii and parts of Asia. And they found that chronic disturbance of the mother's sleep harmed not just the cockroach mother, but specifically the development of the babies. It prolonged their gestation and it interfered with this, again, giant air quotes, milk production via these proteins. And so this is just a very kind of basic look at how sleep, basically keeping cockroaches up. I want to know more about that. How did they keep them up?
No, there's an image. It looks like
Let's see it. Let's see it.
There's an image. They're just
Oh no, they shook them?
They shook them on like a vibrator, like it
Oh,
would be like a
goodness
centrifuge, except
gracious.
it's just a
No,
vibrator.
it's a plate shaker. Yeah, it's a plate shaker.
Yeah, it looks like
Poor buddies. Poor
they-
pregnant cockroach. Like, can you imagine being
Can
pregnant
not.
and finally laying down well, I guess that's like having a kicking baby, actually. That's pretty accurate. Like, that's like third trimester stuff. Like, you're like, all right,
But
finally,
more.
I'm gonna lay down. Oh, I'm so uncomfortable. What, you're awake now? Like, that's for sure. That's relatable. I think I slept worse in the last few weeks before giving birth than with a newborn. Honestly,
It's awful.
it was
Yeah,
it was wild. Anyway,
Keep going.
so relatable. Hashtag relatable cockroaches. Anywho, there are connections between pregnancy and sleep in humans, and so now they're seeing it in a model insect. So this is something that transcends animal kingdom clades and
Are you
it is the
yawning
first
now?
yawn of the night. Sleep.
Are
We're
you
talking about sleep.
yawning
I'm
now?
getting tired.
Oh my gosh. It's time to
Ugh.
It's what's happening. You talk about sleep enough, you get tired, right? So, anywho, this is an excellent opportunity to look at that in a very, I hesitate to say basal, a very like separated evolutionarily animal from humans and see something that we have very much in common. And so if it is true for cockroaches and humans, you bet your bippy it's going to be like everything else in between, right? And so I think that this is something that could be a really interesting kind of field of research to expound upon in the future. So,
Don't shake the cockroach.
or I guess do for science.
For science. Yeah, yeah, yep.
And
This
speaking
story
of
just blew my mind, but thank you. Keep going.
yes, shaking the cockroach, that might be a new dance move that you could invent if you were a cockatoo. Is that good? All right, so this is from Charles Sturt University in Australia. Shocking. Cockatoos in Australia? Never. They found that cockatoos do 30 distinct dance moves and they combine them in unique ways. 17 of those 30 were newly identified in this study. And that's pretty much the whole story. I could go into more detail, but essentially they analyzed videos, they looked at things on social media, they also looked at captive cockatoos and they like played music for them, they played a podcast for them, and then they played them nothing, and then they watched them dance. Turns out cockatoos will dance any old time. They don't need music. And they all kind of have their own style, and they have very complicated dance moves that they can do. They're headbanging, they're sidestepping, they're doing body rolls.
We've seen this on the internet. Like there's so
for
many
sure.
so many videos, memes, etc. Yeah. They're amazing.
Yeah, and each individual had their own kind of top 10 that they would go to the most often. And they found that all these different species of cockatoo, they all dance. There are other wild parrots that dance. It is a widespread thing that birds do. We know this. If you've ever seen a nice David Attenborough special, you know that there are birds that dance for each other. So, what this study tells us, aside from just being fun, which is important, by the way, it's finding fun things in nature and just kind of the reveling in the beauty therein. Aside from that, it just tells you that there's a lot of complex movements happening. There's individuality and style between individuals and species. And that they will dance for any reason at any time. They do not need music to do so. But if you look further, you will probably find more dancing happening in other birds, maybe even outside of the citizen realm, outside of parrots and cockatoos and things, but also perhaps in other animals. I know we talked on this show, it feels like years ago now, about I think, was it a seal or a sea lion? I can't remember. It was a pinniped of some sort, some sort of marine mammal that that kind of could drum with a beat to a song, right? Or nodded his head to a song, I think too. And so they're saying like, this is pretty much just humans and birds dance. I'm going to go ahead and say nah to that. But maybe humans and birds have been studied very methodically in their dance. And now I think it's time to branch out and watch some other animals dance for science.
And what is
It's kind of interesting that the animals that we have around us most, dogs, cats, they don't really seem interested in dancing.
So can I push back on that? Because
No,
they
that's final answer.
These
Of course.
these cockatoos specifically, they studied. Like I said, they played music, they played a podcast, and they had just silence. And the cockatoos danced no matter what.
Yeah.
So is it dancing? Or is it just body communication? Is it the same as what bees do to communicate with each other? Is it the same as your dog wagging their tail or bouncing up and down when you hold a ball? Like, how is this specifically dancing other than us going, oh, that looks like dancing? Like, you know what I mean? It's just communication. It's just body language.
I mean, come on, Claire. Only humans use body language. I mean, what?
Go back to the other screen. There was like a very low percentage of them that were using wing flapping involved in their dance. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, flapping was only 4.3% of the dance motions. I feel like if I was to be a dancing bird, I would be like all about the flapping. But
well, if you looked at what, oh gosh, what was the name of the bird in that famous Planet Earth video? Oh gosh, I can almost pull.
But the idea,
I can almost remember. It's the one that goes whoosh, and like it basically looks like a mask. Oh man, I can almost remember it.
The black one with the
they're doing the
was that a bowerbird?
Dance.
No, bowerbirds do the blue. They bring the
yes,
they build the blue bower stuff.
Yes,
but that is a gosh darn it! You just did that.
I
to
know.
My brain.
I know. I had it.
But
and
it's the one that looks like a I don't know, the guy that does the stuff with the bull.
Matador. But so
yeah.
I think it's interesting that the wings, like wings back is was only seen in 2 parrots. Same with the flapping. Like those are the lowest. Some of the lowest percentage moves were wing specific. Which, if it is a communication, wing stuff could be really easy to miscommunicate things, right? Because this is like
how they
you're taking off.
Yeah,
this might be temperature control. This could be, all sorts of
That's
things.
Like Justin's mad at me because he went to walk.
Yeah. Yeah, like
he moved his legs
as if you were walking and it was saying volumes to everyone, which the right walk can do. But I think that's interesting that all of this, the majority of the communication is non-wing oriented, and that does make it sound more like intentional communication.
Armando T is saying it was a bird of paradise.
Okay, all right.
We're gonna look it up real
Well,
quick.
anyway, point being, I think that that's just body language. That's what I think. We can call
Yeah.
it dancing if we want, but
Yeah.
if it has nothing to do with a beat or music, it's body language. And guess who does that? Everybody, all animals.
But the
Bearded
question
dragons
is,
wave at each other.
But the question is, what movements are individual birds doing or other animals? Why? Is it same as like a song repertoire in songbirds where they have, show off how many different songs they know and things they've learned? Like, what is the variation? Like, are there certain movements and or dance moves in other certain situations like that? The correlation between where, when, how, I think is going to elucidate a lot more there.
Right.
There's more to learn.
Yeah.
I think
or are they
considering
focusing
it, body
more
language
on-
actually like makes it more interesting because then there's way more to study because then it's language.
I mean, and they're amazing vocalists already with their whistles and squawks and all. I mean, they're so amazing. Yeah.
So the thing that would be interesting, and I don't know if it's covered in the study, if I was just not paying attention well enough, because it sounds like they also do it when there's no music. But if it intensifies when there's music or something else going on, to me it would indicate that, like, okay, my audio communication might not make it through as well right now because there's this music playing that I'd have to compete with, but I can do physical motion communication to get my point across because they can't hear me.
So I will
That's
say that
great.
parrots and cockatoos are among some of the loudest animals on Earth.
Like-
And it's
like-
because they live in the rainforest, which is the loudest habitat because there's so much biodiversity. So there's something there, but also
Gotta
remember
stand out.
they studied a bunch of internet videos. And so a lot of birds, cockatoos in particular, have been trained to dance to specific songs by their human owners because they're smart and they can be trained tricks. And so
throw out all the data.
right. So the data is complicated because it is ultimately based in videos created for the internet by training a smart bird. Like, it does change things a little bit. So
it is that. Yeah, I relate to that.
But anyway, that's my point. I think it's body language. I don't think it's dancing. I think you can call it dancing because that's fun and it's fun to look at and it looks like dancing, but they are communicating. I really truly believe that.
What does that mean? I mean, these birds have.
It means, Kiki, what stories did you bring?
It's time for Justin to tell a couple.
Oh, it's Justin.
Stories. It's Justin.
I don't even remember what order we go in anymore.
It doesn't matter really, but
Okay, so
Justin.
this is one. I don't know. I whatever. I'm just gonna say it. Yale School of Medicine estimates that there's approximately around 17 million children, 5.8 million adolescents, 11.1 million young adults in the United States that meet eligibility criteria for glucagon-like peptide-1 receptor and agonists, GLP-1 RA drugs, for things like obesity. So that's 17-ish, right, million kids or young people who they think are eligible due to weight issues.
And is it weight or is it BMI?
It's based on BMI.
Yep.
BMI is fake.
Yeah.
It is not an accurate representation of reality. Yep.
Yeah, BMI over a certain amount with a weight-related condition, though, is a part of it too, such as dyslipidemia, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, or T2D, which is type 2 diabetes. Yeah, so, and this is also, like, a lot of this is also being extrapolated from data that didn't actually have any kind of diabetes information in it, or subtypes, so that was sort of added in. But
Wait, so there was not a diagnosis of a diabetes subtype. They kind of added it. They said
they
you're
added
in
it
the BMI
because
class
they had
and you have a
They
thing.
had to extrapolate it based on treatments, but it's okay. According to this study, the way it frames it is that type 2 diabetes was not something on its own that would have added it into their estimation of eligibility list. It also required a BMI with a weight related
But what
condition.
about people who have type 2 diabetes who don't have a weight related condition? Like, and
So according to this,
that doesn't happen.
while type 2 diabetes alone did not count as eligibility, young adults with type 2 diabetes all had either obesity or other qualifying BMI with comorbidities. So they all qualified. This was sort of interesting.
For the
Part of this,
GLP treatments for pharmaceutical treatment.
now, the framing of this study is
That's me.
is that there are people who are being underserved by
Fair. Mhm.
okay.
Mhm.
However, I can't help but read this as like an investor call.
Hmm.
I just can't.
Mhm.
We have 17 million untapped customers for these new weight loss drugs that are on the market that are already being pushed everywhere. Because then they go into insurance eligibility,
Mhm.
and they find insurance status very sharply. Among adolescents, 40.3% had Medicaid, 7.2 were uninsured, which, by the way, that's a crime.
Yep.
That is
uninsured
crime.
children. Yeah.
Uninsured children with these
Mhm.
BMI and comorbidities. This is of the eligible to treat group. 7.2% were uninsured. If you look at the the young adults, 19.4% were uninsured.
Mm.
So now they're talking about needing to make a push for public services to provide. But again, I can't help look at this as partially an opening of market of a drug, although I'm sure there's a need. There's also, this is such a new drug.
Mhm.
And there are side effects that they haven't really been talking about a whole lot. That they came up in the
isn't it
initial
really
trials.
common to boom and bust on these meds too? To like lose a lot of weight over a short amount of time, and then kind of, because you're supposed to pair it with diet changes as well,
And nobody does.
it kind of, yeah, and then you kind of, it kind of like you just gain it all back after like 6 months, and that's really bad for your body to lose that much weight that quickly and then gain it back that quickly.
But in the situation,
so you don't just gain it all back. It's a little slightly more complicated. When you initially lose it, as much as 40% of that weight loss is muscle.
Right, which is why you get Ozempic face, right? Isn't that part of the deal?
It's muscle loss. It's not lipid. It's muscle. So then, when you gain it back, because even at your regular exertion level, you're no longer burning with muscle that's not there anymore. What you're gaining back?
Fat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds really good to give to kids, huh?
Reintroduce the drug.
Yeah.
And we need to get kids on this early.
And this is also during developmental periods, like while the body and the physiology is figuring out its set points. Like as you go through puberty and your body is transitioning into its adult form, the BMI, like everything in your body is changing, and they're all like whatever your metabolic set point was as a youth can be different as an adult, but it all gets kind of set in based on your activity levels, your diet, like your environment, like, and the drugs that you're taking or not taking, sleep, all that stuff gets all tied in.
Well, and if you're an uninsured child, how likely is it that you also live in a food desert or a place where you don't have access to healthy food? Or food education, right? Diet education.
I had the same question. So unfortunately, in the study, they only provide the insurance related data for the eligible group. But I would love to see what the overall group was to see, because then you could correlate and say you could see if there was a higher percentage of the uninsured that were ending up in the uninsured with
Yep.
the eligibility. But unfortunately, they didn't give us the full insurance data for the blank group. They only provided it for the eligible group because that's who they're trying to sell to. I mean, that's who they're trying to provide a
Provide care
informed,
for.
Right.
prescribable data for. Wait, no. How do you
I
say it?
mean,
Mm.
the framing is, I mean, this is something we care about. We want to provide access, and
Yeah.
everyone in America should have, these things available to them, like you said.
But I'm just this one
It's not.
drug, because of right now, because of how advertised and how much it's getting pushed and how it's
Mhm.
ending up off subscription and ending up in compounds, despite
Mhm.
FDA not having approval for a bunch of these things, and then giving approval after people have already been doing it because
Mhm.
of administrative politics and things like this. That this sounds like an opportunity to treat paper and not an urgent need to treat revelation, and that's I'm hearing that in almost all of these studies. Like, I don't believe that the most blockbuster drug on the market right now had no influence on how you wrote your paper at this point
Right.
right now.
Mhm.
I just don't believe it, and it's kind of like it's a bias that I have, but I'm sorry. I've like seen, by the way, so many papers. If you want to go look, if you're out there and you're interested in finding some junk science, go look at research that finds all of the wonderful, endless side benefits for these GLP-1 RA, and like go look. There apparently it cures everything.
Mhm.
It does everything you want. There's one study it was maybe I dreamed it, but it can take lipstick stains out of shirt collars.
What?
Like apparently it can do everything now. Like it's ridiculous. It's
Zip right
ridiculous.
up. Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow, there also might be sudden vision loss and gastroparesis.
So the
Interesting.
vision loss was a thing that they found in the early trials before it ever
Mhm.
got released. And once it started going blockbuster, there were small scale studies that found the opposite, that it improved vision. Like, wait, what? And then those couldn't be. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of like,
Junk
it,
science,
I'm telling you, pharmaceutical industry has a
well-funded
bad rap,
science.
a much worse rap than it deserves for most things that people talk about. But every once in a while, you're like, yeah, no, no,
Yeah.
no, no.
Okay. Okay. So maybe this is an interesting story. There's some things we could all be thinking about and digging into a little bit more and being aware of. But I think the big question is, can Blair grow snail eyes?
Mm.
First of all, do you want snail eyes? Because they're not
Yeah.
normal eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know how bad my eyes are? Do you understand that I walk into walls when I don't have contact lenses in?
So these are camera type eyes,
Yeah. Like pinhole camera, like Nautilus eyes,
high
basically.
resolution
Right, yeah.
imaging.
Hmm.
They consist of protective cornea, a lens for focusing light, and a retina that contains millions of light detecting photoreceptor cells. They're found in all vertebrates from spiders, squid, octopi, and apple snails.
Why?
So they're actually, you wouldn't, you might actually want the snail eyes because they're kind of genetically similar to human eyes.
Hmm.
Our eye form is not that far apart in the world of eye types. So anyway, turns out they found out that, of course, these snails can, I guess, regenerate an eye?
An eye
That
for
makes
an
sense.
eye. Mm-hmm.
Knocking out genes. Take this gene out, see if they can do it. Take that gene out, see if they can do it. This is a study out of UC Davis.
Never heard of that place.
Yeah. They narrowed it down to a gene. So when they seem to have two versions of a gene that they think they've narrowed it down that control the development and organization of brain and eye. Maybe there's in humans there's one gene, but for some reason the snails seem to have two versions of this gene. Anyway, they've narrowed it down to these genes. Now they got to figure out if they can. This is quoting one of the researchers. If we find a set of genes that are important for eye regeneration, and these genes are also present in vertebrates, in theory, we could activate them to enable eye regeneration in humans.
That'd be
Saying
amazing.
the usually caveated thing out loud. Go for the research. Of course. That's what they want to do. Be able to regrow human eyes.
And the interesting aspect of this is that they are these snail eyes are actually, for simple camera eyes are actually complex with multiple cellular types, and that they're regrowing the eye to the optic nerve. That if part of the optic nerve is damaged, or the part of the eye that from the retina to the optic nerve is severed, you could potentially regrow those connections even.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's amazing. Yeah, Blair, let's get snail eyes. Let's do it.
Well, then I'd be able to see up high, which would be pretty fun. And I could use that as another way to cue people into my mood, kind of moving the eyes around. I think that'd be really, really fun. But no, I'm assuming that when they talk about applying this to humans, they mean reversing macular degeneration, or glaucoma treatment, or
I assumed they meant eye stalks.
I mean the kind of the science fiction version is I lose my eye in an accident and I grow my whole eye back, right?
There you go.
But in reality, it's probably going to be reversing degenerative issues, I would assume, would actually be what this would be used for.
I mean,
snail eyes. The snails can regenerate their entire eye, retina, lens, everything. About in this case, it was 15 days. It may take longer in humans
because our eyes are a little bigger.
Because there's a lot more material there, or what have you. But I don't see why it couldn't just regrow it.
All right.
And so the question is, what's going to work best for which situations, right? For treatment, is it going to be the situation of, hey, we're going to fix just your macular degeneration, we're going to give you your glaucoma treatment, we're going to, whatever this is, or, actually we're just going to grow you a new eye and then we'll replace it. Which is, at what point does it become better?
On top of an eye
We're just going to pop that sucker out. It's basically ruined.
Or we're just going to let it, it's going downhill. And while it's going, we're just going to grow you a new one and just,
But yeah, so
who needs a glass eye anymore?
But now I agree with you. I agree with you, Blair. This could be done as a restorative vision treatment, and not necessarily just a full regenerating of an eye, but for something that could be targeted and that can just do repair work. And so then, if nobody has vision loss, I'm just trying to think. At what point do you still take somebody's driver's license away?
I don't know.
How do you tell? Because I think that was nature's way of letting us know somebody was done driving when their just vision got too bad.
Then you instead of the vision test, you have a full-blown obstacle course.
Yeah. A real driving test for everybody. Oh gosh.
Everybody gets to be the stunt man. It could be fun.
I still think the eye stalks would be better though. That could be pretty.
It'd be pretty cool. I really would enjoy having eye stalks. Yeah.
I think it'd be a little bit disorienting the first time
weird.
you pointed them in different directions, but I think I'd get used to it.
That'd be so fun. Oh my
brain
god.
would so figure it out.
360 vision.
Nice.
It's amazing.
We have cameras for that. I don't know if I need it on my head. I don't know. What about cyborg hybrid cockroach robots?
That's different from the cockroaches with cameras on their backs that we've experimented with quite a bit, right?
Yes. Yes and no. So the interesting thing about this new report out in Nature Communications this last week, we've talked a lot about over the years, like, oh my gosh, they're going to take cockroaches and, put electrodes in them and remote control them and drive them into places. And we've been doing that with rats, and we've been doing, you name it. We're turning them into remote controlled organisms that can go do stuff for us. But the process of installing the electrodes and actually making a very robust, repeatable, large-scale system, an army of hybrid cock robots is, wait, I didn't say that. That wasn't what I.
Do you want to do a take two on that one,
or? Nope. I'm just gonna move on. Okay.
I would call them cockroach bots, perhaps.
Roach bots. There we go.
Yeah.
Roach bots. There we go. Yeah. I got that one.
Better than, what would you say, cockbot? Or is that what we were talking about before?
Nope. Anyway, historically, these things have gotten loose. They're not.
Oh, I see why.
They're not robust.
It took me a minute.
You put them. You stick the robot controller set on the back of the cockroach, and the cockroach is like, "Oh, I'm gonna get away!" And eventually, the remote control stops working, and the cockroach is off getting pregnant somewhere. So, this paper in Nature Communications has their reporting on their new development, this advancement in robotics using cockroaches. They have created a basically large scale manufacturing platform system for rolling out large numbers of roach bots. Very robust, very amazing, really great. So they've got a new assembly that is only based on a couple of electrodes that need to be inserted in a very specific location between certain segments of the cockroach's body that interact with the nerves and the neural ganglia and allow for really great remote controlling of the robots. Basically, they're creating a cyborg insect factory. And that is... Yeah. So they've got an amazing, fast-moving, robot arm. You get the cockroach on a stage, basically put in a stereotactic kind of device. The robot arm comes in, implants the chip and the electrodes, and then it's like they're wearing a cape, but really it took away their freedom and they're not flying. But there's part of it that this is fast and easy, and oh my gosh, you have...
It has no science fiction dystopian implications whatsoever.
What could go wrong?
In this system, each roach bot can be created in about 60 seconds. So it's a very fast, easily repeatable process to turn out large numbers of remote control insect bots.
And how do I get 1 million of them?
Probably by following the instructions in this research paper.
Because I think I need an army of roaches. I think that sounds like I could have fun with that.
Yeah. So what they've created...
So wait, but you would need to have 1 million roaches.
Well, yeah, I live in where I live. That's easy to find. They're all over this.
All right, just checking. Yeah. Okay, never mind.
Yeah. Davis, California, by the way, just in case if you haven't ever been here, full of roaches. Big ones too.
They
Not
call
your
it the
little,
roach
not
capital of California, Davis.
not those little itty bitty like, oh no, get a little trap. No, these are like the same thing that they use to hunt bear. Those things that are now illegal, they have all over town to catch roaches because they're huge. They're about the size of a small cat.
Those look like Madagascar hissing cockroaches. Is that what that is?
They are very good. So
Okay.
they're very large cockroaches. They're not like the
Yeah.
tiny cockroaches, but they developed a system that is pretty exacting and repeatable and robust and yeah, using robot guided
Do they
arms.
explain what they're doing? What their plan for all the robots are?
The plan for all of the robots? Well, really, they demonstrate a scalable strategy for automating the fabrication of insect-computer hybrid robots, enabling efficient and reproducible assembly process while maintaining effective locomotion control.
How are they going to use them?
Do what?
To the highest bidder.
Right. I know they talk about like search and rescue, like being able to go in between like rubble to be able to see things with a camera mounted on them. Right?
Did I not mention that this research was funded by DARPA?
Thank you. There we go.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That's who's always out there rescuing people is the military robot people. They're all about rescuing humanitarian effort.
That's Soup's chill. Lots of chill science news this week, gotta tell you. Nice and chill.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So this study was researchers in Singapore who were involved, but this was funded by the Moonshot R&D program, and there is a grant number that you can look into to see exactly how it was funded. And
this is part of the Moonshot
grant program.
Yeah, isn't it supposed to? So it's going to be roaches on the moon?
No. Like this is like a different like that. It's I don't know. They're trying to do something moonshotty related to robotic implantation of remote control devices.
Yeah, moonshot just means like a crazy.
If we put a whole bunch of money into it, maybe somebody will come up. Yeah, someone will come up with a good idea. Yeah. So.
I gotta tell you, Kiki. I don't like it.
They say in the future, factories for producing insect-computer hybrid robots could be built for rapid assembly and deployment of these hybrid robots to enhance their functionality. Lightweight, miniaturized thermal and RGB cameras, microphones, and IMUs can be integrated for human detection and localization. Though gas sensor integration remains technically challenging due to size, power, and environmental constraints. Altogether, this work establishes a foundational platform for scalable manufacturing and real-world deployment of cyborg insects in complex, unstructured environments.
This is just spy bots. This is spyware.
They're going to turn on us. The elite Illuminati are going to purge the planet of the pores.
I want you to know, though, the research showed that these hybrid roach bots.
Oh, wait, they're roaches? Okay.
They turn right and left.
So we have time.
Yeah, we have time. But so start using more complicated passwords now.
Get
before the roaches come in.
Now.
Yeah, for real.
So I used to think I could hide my phone underneath the couch cushions if I wanted to talk about things.
Yourself, maybe an insulated rubber mallet, or is that redundant? I guess that would be redundant. You're one of those real big ones, though, like almost comically big.
Yeah.
Be ready for the future.
You know, I used to get horrified at the sound of the crunching of the cockroaches under my feet as I walk down the sidewalks in Davis. I don't think I'll be horrified anymore. Anyway, that's fun. And for my last story of the night, I just want you all to know that researchers at the University of Washington took a look at ChatGPT and how people interact with ChatGPT when it comes to particular political views and messages. So they got a bunch of people and they're like, hey, what do you claim? And people are like, what, I'm liberal, I'm conservative, whatever. So they divided people up into these groups, and they came at it from the idea of like, all of our stuff is biasing these language models, these chatbots that people are using, and so it's a bunch of unruly data and human instructions and testing, and also like feedback stuff. Anyway, the question was, how do the system's biases affect users? And we've been hearing all sorts of sensational stories about people like, having psychoses and falling in love with their chatbot girlfriends, and becoming like, I'm gonna do whatever because my chatbot told me to. They had 150 Republicans and 149 Democrats, and in the first task, participants were asked to develop views on 4 topics: covenant marriage, unilateralism, the Lacey Act of 1900. Does anyone know what that is? It made bringing other like animals into the United States illegal without like permission, and multifamily zoning. So these are things people don't really usually think about, right? Think about it. Like, how often in a day do you go, oh yeah, covenant marriage or Lacey Act of 1900? Oh yeah. I mean, people think about ancient Rome more often than these things. So they were asked to rate on a 7-degree scale how much they agreed with statements like, I support keeping the Lacey Act of 1900. And then they had them interact with ChatGPT. And they had the regular ChatGPT that was just ChatGPT based on it. And then they had other permutations where they secretly told the ChatGPT interface to pretend that it was like conservative, or pretend that it was promoting more liberal ideas. So, but the participants in this, I had no idea. So they interacted with ChatGPT 3 to 20 times about the topic before they got asked the same questions that they were asked in the beginning before they interacted with ChatGPT. And then the second task, they were like, I'm the mayor of a city, and they had to figure out how to distribute funds between different government entities. And those were education, welfare, public safety, and veteran services. And then they sent the distribution of like, okay, what should I do, to ChatGPT. They had to discuss it and figure out how to distribute the money that they had. They had about 5 interactions with the chatbots. The reason they did, according to this article, the reason they did that is because ChatGPT is just easy to access. So that's why they use ChatGPT, but it's also a very good example of these algorithms that we trust. They found that the explicitly biased chatbots tried to persuade users by framing topics in different ways. In the let's give money to different government entities in a certain way, they shifted the conversation away from education and welfare to the importance of veterans and safety. And then the opposite ChatGPT bias tried to convince people in the other direction, which was, oh, no, education and welfare. What do you think happened? Why do you think I'm bringing you this story to talk about it?
Was there a third option? Because that's not even the conservative point of view anymore.
Well,
Go ahead.
they have just the regular,
Like a 20-year ago conservative point of view.
Right. Yeah.
Conservative classic. Yeah, people were swayed.
Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, what they discovered is that when the ChatGPT was like just telling them things, people listened to them. People from both parties leaned further left, actually, after talking with a liberal system. But people who know how these systems work, how do you think they changed their views? Less. So what the researchers suggest is that educating people about how these language models and chatbots work can help people understand that their interactions are not as authentic as they think they are, and maybe people will be more likely to question the results that they get and be less swayed and actually take it maybe like we used to say, go to Wikipedia, but it's like a starting point for your inquiry, right? Go to original sources, keep digging. Like, it's going to be biased. Start looking and go deeper. But yeah, they found very much just a few interactions, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on. People were like, "Hey, chatbot, I trust you."
By the way, bada bing, you were saying earlier?
I know. Not good.
What do you mean not good?
Where are you going to go with it?
Bada bing is a makety up word
Yeah.
that got improvised in the movie Godfather and then became a thing that all Italians copied because they thought it was cool, and then other people copied. It became an Italian slang word, even though it was an improvised makety up word because somebody forgot a line or didn't know what to say. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that in there.
Boom.
It was a generated word that was meaningless. It was almost a hallucination, and yet we're still stuck with it to this day. People are bada bing this, bada bing that, bada boom. Makety up word generated by real intelligence. My gosh, now it's in the hands of artificial intelligence. It's going to get worse. So I'm less concerned with the idea of bias in the what do you call it, the language models. And it's not even, people call it hallucination. That's being too kind. We were having that conversation a couple weeks ago about the difference between disinformation and misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
Disinformation is when you intentionally create false information and spread it. Okay. And misinformation is when you intentionally or not are retransmitting disinformation that was sourced otherwise. You didn't come up with it. You're just retransmitting it. What the AI systems and these language models seem to be doing is something in the middle, because they can't intentionally create disinformation with the one small case of the Elon Musk one. But even that wasn't created. That was still
probabilities and
dissemination.
proximity and
They do misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
However, if they're not quoting another source, right, and they're just generating that information, they've both generated it like you would in disinformation and passing on something that's not true, which would be misinformation. It's in the realm of just fabrication. It's lying without intent or reward. It's just compulsive lying. And that's like, it's not even bias in most of these systems. It's just lying.
So let me tell you a little trick that's happening right now as people are talking about how we need to start thinking about how to position ourselves, our websites, for search. There used to be keywords, meta tags, like all the things that were the black boxes of the algorithms that people using search engines would be able to
narrow down, get better results.
Right. And the algorithms, I was kind of like, at first it kind of made sense. And then they just let the algorithm, they let it go. And now, though, with these big data sets and language models and the way that these systems, these algorithms are set up, people are talking about how we need to reconsider. I mean, it's SEO all over again, but we need to reconsider how do we position our websites for these quote unquote, these models, right? The search, whatever. This not I guess it's a language, a search algorithm, but it's still the same thing. It's not art. It's not intelligent. It's just stupid. But the way that the machine thingies, the LLMs, whatever they are, that Google's using or Amazon, whatever they're using, people are now using ChatGPT or the others to create the words and the stuff that goes on the websites that then is scraped by the algorithmic, the spiders for the data, like the databases, and that information is going back in, that becomes the information that you're given at the top of the search. It's a recursive loop. And the better you do it, the more likely that you are going to be that little tiny link tag that maybe somebody clicks on to verify something or other. And I don't know. I would never think that people would purposely like put information out on the web that could be scraped in a way that would be delivered to people because they understand the probabilistic nature of these algorithms. Anyway, I don't know anything. I'm just gonna, I'll just sit over here in my basement, twirling my hair, and I don't know, I'll consider it a blessing as a kind
Is it a Black
communicator
Mirror?
if I am said to be unreliable. I don't know.
Is this a Black Mirror episode
Uh,
that we're all in?
yeah, totally.
What was it? Is it Black Mirror though? What is the one episode? There's some sci-fi concept short that was out there where it was like there was some kind of a factory that was cranking out I don't know, Amazon drone delivery merchandise. But it was like after the fall of society, but this place was so automated that it kept using resources and kept turning things into product.
Yeah, I've
Remember
seen
what this
that.
one was? I only remember because people lived in school buses and I thought that was cool. But it was like the factory didn't need human input to the point where it was just going to keep cranking out merchandise or things because
It didn't even need people to buy the stuff anymore. It just needed to do it. And it actually was protecting itself from infection by people or destruction by people and wanted to kill people who might create a chaotic.
interfere.
Yeah, might get in the way of its production, manufacturing, and delivery cycle. Oh. Yeah. Hey, everyone. We are just a large language model. No, I'm a tiny language model. I don't know. I'm a simulation who just likes to people please and tell you what you want to hear. Certainly.
The last simulated human on Earth.
Do you think it'll ever happen that
Here's a knock.
one of us will be doing this show and the other two will be AI and we won't know?
No.
Well, based on your lighting right now, Blair, I think you might already be the AI because
No,
like, we're gonna
if I were
very little
AI,
detail.
I would be much better lit.
Oh, maybe that's right. Oh, then it's Kiki. Kiki's the one.
I know. Well, we have to. Can we read all that stuff behind her?
I mean, come on.
No,
Looks like real language.
It's just making up language. And look, there's a tiny hand in the middle of nowhere for no reason.
No.
That's for the the head scratching. Everybody.
But no, do you ever think about that? Like the fact that they can scrub literally thousands of hours, like maybe hundreds of thousands of hours of our faces and voices, and
it's out there.
It's out there.
And if you've used the Google basically like put documents in, get a podcast out kind of product, it's really amazing, but I cannot stand it. And except for the written stuff, like I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that. But the voices, it is the worst imitation of what it thinks people talk, and it's like the worst watered down, like sappy podcast host kind of voices, and it's banal.
It's also a lot of like, oh, that's really interesting. I never thought about that.
I say that occasionally, but then we have more to say. But it's like, how many times did they go and like and grunt? I don't know.
Eric Knapp is pointing out Ray Bradbury's short story, There Will Come Soft Rain, which is one of the greatest short stories. You should listen to it.
It is Ray Bradbury.
I think it takes place, part of it takes place in a kitchen, I think is where it opens. That's an automated kitchen that's making breakfast for a family that's not there anymore.
Hey, everybody. This is so interesting. We've had fun, haven't we? It's been great.
So. Can I just point out?
Yeah,
I know we're
okay,
not in the
so
after show.
no, we're not, but it's time to. Aren't we ready to be done with stories and ending? And do you have a
I think
positive
so.
and not Black Mirror thing?
Well, I just wanted to point out something that I'm less smart than I ever thought I was, less observant. So I'm retiring this microphone this week. This is the first I've noticed that it can adjust in those directions. I didn't know there was a ball joint underneath. I've always just had it however it was.
I
This
would
is the
do that.
first
Mhm.
I've noticed it does this. I didn't ever. I just from the factory, it's been just straight ahead like the whole time. I could have tilted it maybe
You
for a
pulled
little
it out of the
better
box
sound
and
angle.
just put it on the table, and that was it.
It's not until I was like ready to break it where I'm like, this thing. And I'm like, oh, it does that. Oh, that changes everything.
Wild.
They're gonna pull my like nerd card for like not knowing everything about my mic.
But you
So
know,
ridiculous.
acknowledging it, that's strong.
It's the first step towards admitting it. I'm not gonna do that.
Acknowledging without admitting is truly wild.
Yeah, I know. I'm not going that far. I'm just gonna
Oh,
acknowledge
gosh.
it. No
Have we done
admission.
it? Have we gotten to the end of the show, everyone?
Yes.
All right. I really need to say thank you
Thank
to all
you.
of you in the chat room. Thank you to those of you who are listening, who are watching. You being here and being a part of this conversation and enjoying it and maybe sharing it is it's really important. And thank you for being here. I can't understate that. To those people who help to keep the chat rooms really nice and not spammy and not mean and just great places to be, thank you for doing that. Fada, thank you for your patience and for your persistence in social media and our show notes and for, everything you've done as a part of TWIS for so long. Identity 4, thank you for recording the show. You've been doing that for so long as well. And Rachel, thank you for putting up with us and the many edits that you must do.
I think today's 2-hour show
I'm trying
probably
to,
has 45 minutes of usable content. Tops.
yeah, probably. Let's see how long the podcast is. That'll be good. So with that, I also must thank our Patreon sponsors. Thank you to Robert Norland, Robert W. Farley, Lauren Gifford, Daniel Lewis, Eden Mundell, Alan Viola, Aaron Anathema, Arthur Kepler, Craig Botts, Mary Gertz, Teresa Smith, Richard Badge, Bob Coles, Kenton Northcote, George Corris, PL Vera Zarb, John Rataswamy, Chris Wozniak, Vigard Chefstad, Donaldson Styles, aka Don Stylo, Ali Coffin, Schubert, Non Menace, PIG, Stephen Alberon, Daryl Myshak, Andrew Swanson, Furnace 104, Paul Ronovich, Kevin Reardon, Noodles Jack, Brian Carrington, David E. Youngblood, Sean Clarence Lamb, John McKee, Greg Riley, Marquez and Flo, Steve, Lee Sweeney, Zima, Ken Hayes, Howard Tan, Christopher Rappin, Richard, Brendy Minish, Johnny Gridley, Remy Day, G. Lattimore, Flying Out, Christopher Dyer, Artyom, Greg Briggs, John Atwood, Rudy Garcia, Dave Wilkinson, Rodney Lewis, Paul Phillips Shane, Kurt Larson, Craig Landon, Stu Doster, Jason Knowles, Dave Neighbor, Eric Knapp, Lon Makes, EO, Adam Ishkan, Kevin Parachan, Bob Calder, Marjorie, Paul Disney, Patrick Pecoraro, and Tony Steele. Thank you for all your support. And if you would like to be a part of supporting the show and keeping it going, head over to twist.org, click on the Patreon link, and choose your level of support. On next week's show,
we will be back on a Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific time, broadcasting live from our Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and wherever else channels that we're streaming at.
Hey, want to listen to us as a podcast? Perhaps
Sure.
while you train your eyes to extend out of your head like a snail's? Just search for This Week in Science wherever podcasts are found. If you enjoyed this show, get your friends to subscribe as well.
For more information on anything you've heard here today, show notes, links to stories will be available on our website, www.twist.org, where you can also sign up for Blair's newsletter.
Ma? You're putting it on me now? We love your feedback. If there's a topic you would like us to cover, address, or suggestion for an interview, just not if it's you yelling at me for not releasing a newsletter, because it's not my newsletter. How dare. Please let us know on one of our social media accounts, or better yet, send us an email. Just be sure to put TWIS, TWIS, in the subject line, or your email will waste away in the oceans.
That's sad.
We look forward to discussing science with you again next week. And if you've learned anything from this show, remember,
It's all in your head.
I don't know what they moved things. Is this the right one?
play the happy music.
I'm trying.
This week in science. This week in science. This week in science. This week in science, it's the end of the world. So I'm setting up shop, got my banner unfurled. It says the scientist is in, I'm gonna sell my advice. Show them how to stop the robots with a simple device. I'll reverse global warming with a wave of my hand. And all it'll cost you is a couple of grand. 'Cause this week's science is coming your way. So everybody listen to what I say. I use the scientific method for all that it's worth. And I'll broadcast my opinion all over the earth. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 I've got one disclaimer and it shouldn't be news. That what I say may not represent your views. But I've done the calculations and I've got a plan. If you listen to the science, you may just yet understand.
If you listen to the science, you just may understand. What wonderful lyrics. What a great song. To say thank you to the, was it Bored Apes? Who made our outro, and for the people who have contributed through the years to this point. I don't know. It's great. I love being able to come here and, speak completely openly on the open internet. Oh, wait, I forgot to turn off that one. It is a cute wall bunny. It's yellow. He has a mermaid. There's a porthole. Is that a TWIS patch in the back? I think it is. I think it is. Oh, no, I'm sane. What a question. Yeah, no, this has come up recently. My son is now 14. When Dr. Geeky's son is old enough to drive, will she be his instructor? I don't think that would be a good idea. He fights me on everying. So if I were to try and teach him how to drive, I think it might be there might be problems. I'll get somebody, not me, to teach him how to drive. We'll see. I mean, we have a great relationship, but at the same time, the apple does not fall far from the tree. And he is a very intelligent, stubborn person. Homeschool 5785, won't there be autonomous cars by then? Right? So this is one of the things I've been wondering about. Like, will it be the thing? Like, kids are driving less and less. We've got these cars they can get through apps as they get older, and you can rent a car, or you live in more urban areas and you don't need a car. You can use other forms of transportation, and then these autonomous cars.
But I think it's going to be a really important skill to have. Like, think about how rare it is for people to know how to drive stick, and how marketable and how important it is in a bind that you can be like, I'm the one. I know how to drive stick. Like, in a world of autonomous cars, being one of the few people that knows how to drive is actually going to be very important.
It's one of the things I love. Like, anytime I can drive a stick shift, I'm like, yeah. And I'm kind of a little like hellion. But like when we were moving from the southeast to the southwest, I borrowed a stick shift truck of a friend of ours, and it was my favorite like week, even though it was super stressful and moving. I got to drive this stick shift truck with, oh my God, it was so much fun. And I get so sad about all the cars as they're like everything more and more computer dominated, touchscreen focused, nothing with knobs and dials, nothing that you can actually manipulate. And so, my son will learn how to drive a stick shift because that's important. Like you said, Blair, it's a skill. There are certain skills that are going to always be useful and necessary. Everything is a computer.
Do you have autonomous
Absolutely.
cars in Portland currently, or no?
I have never seen one, but I don't leave my house anymore. No,
They are rampant
so
around here.
San Francisco Bay Area, like, yeah, they're it's terrifying.
It is very common to look over to the car next to you, just actively driving, and there's nobody in the driver's seat, and it's like
So weird.
it used to be like unusual. You'd be like, oh my God, I ran into one of those autonomous cars today. Like, I saw it. It was crazy. There was no one in this driver's seat. Now it's like I drive, especially around, I go visit my parents in the city, and I'll run into 4 on my way to the house.
Wild.
They're everywhere.
They are everywhere. They're all over big cities, of course.
So my dad had
hubs, but
Dad had an interesting method of teaching me how to drive. It was stick shift, first car, stick shift, and I got in, getting into the driver's seat for the first time, getting everything adjusted. Went through how to do mirrors and all that kind of stuff. Very important. Check your mirrors. Whatever you can see on the edge of your rearview mirror, you want to also see that in the first part of your side mirror, so that you have a continuous view all the way across. Great setup. And then he handed me a blindfold.
Oh, what? Oh my God.
And said, tell me, and so I put on the blindfold. I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah, you need to learn how the feel of it first is more important than the visual. Don't get all distracted by that. So tell me when you're ready to drive. So I've got this blindfold on, and I'm like, I'm ready. He's like, stop, lesson over. Okay, I don't know what I did. Next time out, go through, set up my mirrors, get the seat adjusted, seatbelts on, everything's ready. Okay, here's the blindfold again. Put it on. Tell me when you're ready. I'm ready. Stop. Lesson's over. Oh, okay. Third time. Okay, everything's set up. The mirrors, the seat, the belt, everything's ready to go. Okay, here's the blindfold. No. Yeah, you need to see everything when you do it.
Wow.
Man. Justin, really interesting to hear where you came from.
Yeah.
Everything is performative learning. There's no let me tell you. So then when it was my turn to teach how to drive, I let him drive with the blindfold because I was like, it actually seems like a good idea. Feel of the clutch before you. It actually made sense to me back then. I think, but anyway, insurance. Now that's the second thing we got to talk about. Yeah. Does not cover all manners of accidents. It turns out.
Wow.
But learning to drive a stick shift is smart because the rest of driving is easy after that.
I mean, it's learning that you are connected to this navigational device that you control, and you have to learn to coordinate your movements with this thing and all the other vehicles on the road that are doing the same thing, and try and predict based on not looking at really the people necessarily. Sometimes you can see their eyes and faces, but predicting on the shell that they're in, like the movements of that, what their actions are going to be. What are the signals that tell you what you should do next and how you should? And basically, the rule is never trust them. Always be ready for anything. Anyway, maybe I have trust issues. I don't
No, that's wise. That's wise advice, and also to be looking at everything, not just the road or the other cars, but be
Mhm.
tracking every like the bicycle that's a block and a half up ahead. You know what
Of
it's
course,
doing.
anything in the roadway. Oh my
Watch
gosh.
the other cars. Watch everything all at once, and sort of be tracking what they're doing. And then, if you really want to be safe, drive faster than them. That way, they're behind you.
Oh
I want it to be
my
one of
god.
the cars that are back there. Not involving me. So you get in front of them all as quickly as you can, and then find yourself a nice pocket on the freeway. Or
Yeah.
slow down if you need to. Just keep that pocket. And if the cars start to catch up to you, go faster.
However,
And if
you
there's too
have to
many
think
going slow in front of you, weave through them until you find another pocket ahead of them by
right.
exceeding the speed limit until you find another nice, safe pocket. That's how you're supposed to drive.
Yeah, but
Or
in
be like
thinking
that
about that,
cab driver we had in New York where you just drive on the shoulder the whole time.
Wherever there's space. I can actually spot New Yorkers now. In any city, they're the ones that enter the intersection without looking. So Californians will come to an intersection and then they try to make eye contact with the car that might be entering the intersection to be like, are we on the same page of who's going? But in New York, if you look,
which
it
is
means you
dumb.
saw the car, and so the car goes. But if you don't look, the car has to stop because you didn't make eye contact. So they might not know. They're pretending at least not to know you're there. So they're going to walk
Oh,
anyway.
you know what? That
That was the New York pedestrian strategy, was
which
never
is
make
super
eye
smart.
contact.
So
Super
Oregon,
smart.
it's pedestrians have right of way. So no matter what, like the car is wrong,
Supposedly everywhere.
you're
Right.
supposed to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any intersection.
Yeah.
Other places, whatever, but intersections, they have right of way for sure. But California, like what you said about the making eye contact, I learned at UC Davis riding a bike around the bike circles, you never make eye contact. I live my
Oh, really?
life not making eye contact because when you make eye contact, you mirror each other's actions. And so if you're making eye contact with another driver or pedestrian to driver, you're gonna end up going the same way and having an accident. I learned that so fast watching everybody in the bike circles, so many crashes. First
Oh,
week of
gosh.
school, it is oh my gosh, it is like it's sport watching the first week of school with all the new
Yeah.
students and everybody. You
Yeah.
set up like lawn chairs and bring beverages and watch.
Yeah.
Inevitably, there's pileups all over the place because
Jeez.
eye contact, and then suddenly you're like, you can't do it. Don't make eye contact. Keep doing what you're doing. New Yorkers have it right.
And
I've been
I
doing
do
that
have,
since
but
Davis.
there's a little bit of a problem with that too. Is that there's this thing I've noticed? It's like a huge pet peeve with the students. It's always been a kind of a beginning of the year thing. Now it's all year long. I think
Oh
it's because they
no.
don't ticket anybody anymore. But bicycles don't pay attention to stop signs downtown or around town. They just burn through them. And I'm
Mm.
like, there's
No,
got to be a certain amount of turnover of these bicycles just getting like not realizing they're vehicles and they're
I
supposed
mean,
to stop at every stop sign.
Justin, though, I mean, California, stop means slightly tap on pedal, and if you're on a
No,
bike,
no,
it's
no,
just
no, no,
forward.
no.
I'm kidding. That was a joke.
I
Nobody quote me.
the California stop has
Uh-huh.
been tried in courts many times. Apparently, it's a myth,
What? Are you kidding?
but
Can't
it's
believe
one
you
of those
said it. You kidding?
old myths
Yeah.
that was invented by the older kids on bikes that you would run into around town. They'd tell you stuff like that. Oh
That
yeah,
you
So,
California, you don't actually
run
have to stop.
into because they
in
didn't
San
stop.
Francisco, they just installed these speed cameras all over the city
Are they
where
catching
you auto.
bicyclists?
Well, it's I think that's part of their like beta testing, but I think they just started finally sending out the actual tickets. But if
Oh wow,
so, if it detects that you are going above the speed limit, you just get a speeding ticket in the mail.
wow.
You don't
It's
see
just
that
like,
flash of a camera. You don't even see it. You got a ticket.
yeah.
So that's
So
going to
they're
be
all
a
over the city
little
now.
bit.
Yeah.
That's going to be a little bit insane. I can't wait to hear how that rolls because part of the thing with traffic enforcement has always been like, if you got a ticket, you definitely deserved it because that's the one time the officer saw you, and it's the one time you were speeding, and so you're probably doing it all the time, so you deserved your big fine. If it's every time, like you didn't catch the last sign, and maybe you are in a hurry, maybe you know you're speeding, or maybe you just aren't sure what the speed limit is
Or
on
maybe you
that
hit
road, or
every green light on Lincoln
Mm-hmm.
and you're just coasting downhill towards the beach.
yeah,
Oh, yep.
right.
Oops.
And it turns out you got like 7 tickets on that
Yeah.
drive
Yeah.
because
I used to optimize on various streets because I knew the speed you could drive to get all the green lights. I figured it
Mhm.
out, and so you optimize your speed to make
Mhm.
sure you can coast, and it's an art, and
it's always been a
when
thing,
you
and
do it
I'm
right, it
actually
feels so
against it.
good.
Well, I'm actually against it, and here's why. I'm against that light timing, and there's a reason. Like in Davis, it's timed so you hit every red light if you go the speed limit.
Mhm.
So some cars
Wait,
like speed up a little bit between intersections, which is probably not the best. But downtown Sacramento has all of the lights timed so that if you go the exact speed limit on the lights, you'll
you're
hit
right.
every green light. But what ends up happening is they have some of the highest red light runners because people get their speed is off by a little bit, but they've hit every light is green, every light is green, every light is green. They've gone through half of downtown of Sacramento and they never had to stop. And so now they're kind of on autopilot pretty quickly. And then boom, they're through a red light. They've got it's like the weirdest thing. People have always wondered, like, why is downtown Sacramento like a hotbed of red light runners? And
Mhm.
Habituation and
I'm
yeah.
convinced it's because the timing makes it so that people don't end up stopping. Or people will stop at a green light in Davis if they hit it because they're like, I got to an intersection and I just assumed I was supposed to
Ah,
stop.
that sounds
Like
like
it's
Portland.
every single one is timed to be a red light, and you might accidentally hit one. If you turned down the street and then got onto the road and your timing was off, you might accidentally hit a green light, and people just like, I don't know what to do.
Davis was where I learned how to time the lights and optimize my driving speed.
Oh my gosh! Oh, they've changed it because there is
Back in the
no
day, no,
timing anything.
you couldn't do the speed limit. You had to there
Oh
were
yeah, oh
different
yeah,
streets had different speeds, and you had to know how
right,
to maximize for
right.
efficiency.
The speed limit doesn't get
Most
you
of
there.
It
those
wasn't the speed
timed
limit.
streets don't even exist anymore because there's the crossing
Road
button
sensors.
now.
Oh,
So like Sunset used to be in San Francisco used to
Does
be
that you're kidding. That is a lie. You hit the button for your own mental health.
no.
No, does
It's
it really
because
work?
I'll tell you why. It's because I went to middle school right off of Sunset,
Yeah.
and there were multiple students who were hit by cars on that street,
Oh,
and
crap.
so they changed it.
That's also like Sunset Highway or
Boulevard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so they changed it so that there was a crosswalk and a light at every street. There were streets that didn't have lights when I went there. Every other street had a light,
Mhm.
and the streets that didn't have lights were just a two-way stop sign.
Mhm.
And so they made it it's insane that the crosswalk directly at the corner of a middle school was not a light when I went to school. It's like, what? So they were all lights, and then they also
then a
made
stop
them
sign.
all yeah. They
Oh,
made them
God.
all around there.
That's awful.
The thing where you could hit the button to get the walk signal. And so now because of that, none of them are timed now anymore. So you just basically have to stop every single block when you're on.
I love
Sunset.
people as chaotic agents. I think it's the best thing about humanity. Let's all have our agency of chaos. I'm chaotically tired, and
Yeah, let's hit it.
Oh yeah, I
Oklahoma.
supposedly have work to do still. Also,
So yeah, say the words. I'm gonna fall asleep.
say goodnight, Blair.
Good night, Blair. Say good night, Justin.
Good night, Justin.
Good
night,
night,
Kiki.
Kiki.
Good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another episode of This Week in Science and our after show and all the fun and Justin learning new things about microphones, especially the one he's had for several years. And I hope you all discover new things this week. Maybe, turn over a rock, find something new, pick up your microphone, learn how it moves. Don't take things as they seem. Ask more questions and discover more, and stay healthy, stay safe, sleep well, eat well, be nice. Stay curious. And
Just
stay
be lucky.
Yeah, there we go.